Welcome to Rainer and Rainierbooks and to my weekly wrap-up. Today I take you on this Saturday, publish this on Sunday, I take you to Longsher, which is the lake behind me, and this is actually the beach of Longsher where I'm now. And today I want to talk about the week that has gone, the things that I have read, the things that I'm reading next week, my reading projects, but also I want to do a little bit of looking back on 1 year with the pandemic, because today is March the 13th, which actually means that 1 year ago I spent my first day in a home office in this pandemic and was still far away from getting out of it. So let's follow me along Longshan, because I'm walking along the whole lake now on my way home, and stop from time to time to speak a little bit about the pandemic. So let's get this video started. So Longshan, the name of the lake on the left side of me, means actually nothing else but long lake. But this lake is, for Swedish relation, it's not very long. I think it's about maybe 1 or 2 kilometers, that's all. Anyway, they call it Longshan, so let them be the long lake. I have to be a little bit careful here because it's the slippery ground. We have had a lot of snow on Thursday, and then it was melting again yesterday, so it's a little bit slippery here on my way along Longshan. So 1 year ago I went into home office. How was that? Actually, our employer said that it was up to us to decide if we would go to the office or if we would stay at home, and I decided almost immediately to stay at home. Not because I hate the office and not because I hate my people there, but on March, I think it was March 12th, when the Swedish chief epidemiologist, Anders Tegnell, said that Sweden would stop testing people for COVID-19. I thought, oh, this doesn't sound too good. If they stop testing people, that means there will be no tracing and there will be no mitigating the virus. So I decided to stay at home, and 1 year after, still at home. We have vaccines in the world, as you know, 4 in the United States, 3 in Europe, and these vaccines are coming in slow portions to our countries here in the EU. They're coming in big, chunky portions to the United States, and President Biden has announced that he wants to have every American vaccinated by May 1, if possible. Every adult American citizen who wants to get the vaccine, the jabs, into his or her upper arm. So that's great news for Americans. The year with the pandemic has been really, I think everybody saw on BookTube, at least on my part of BookTube, has seen the Poptimist's video 2 weeks ago. I think he made a video about how the pandemic has sort of gotten to him, that after hundreds of Zoom meetings each and every day, how everyday life becomes more and more blurry. Well, I'll show you the lake, wait. Becomes more and more blurry, and that is really something that I share with him, that was really something that I deeply could recognize myself, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday are melting into each other and into weeks and into months, and now we have a whole year with this, let me say it, with this shit behind us. On March 11th, last year, the first Swede died of COVID-19 here in Stockholm, in my hometown, and until now 3,600 Stockholmers have died and 13,000 Swedes within this year, and the end is not near. The end is near, it's not near. Pretty soon after the pandemic had started, people were talking about a very special Swedish way. The Swedes had found a different way through this pandemic. There were no lockdowns, there were no mask wearing, nothing. And the Swedish state epidemiologist Tegnell, well, there were rumors that he was looking for herd immunity, that he wanted to let the virus run through society in a way that the hospitals wouldn't break down, but still the virus would be able to infect each and everyone except for the older people, and we would get herd immunity and sort of be the #1 country in the world to get out of this. That didn't work, but we still don't wear masks because of this incredible resistance against mask wearing in the first 8-9 months, which was done by Anders Tegnell here in Sweden, but which was actually very Trumpian, because if you remember, the American president, Donald Trump, former president, was or still is against mask wearing. In the United States, it's a very political thing to wear a mask. You show that you're a Democrat, and if you are a Republican, and if you're a man, you don't wear a mask. So 1 year into this, they have now, at least some regions have now recommended that we should wear masks in public transport. But after almost, I would say, 9 months of really argumenting against it, there's maybe 50% of people who have understood that wearing a mask is better than not wearing a mask. So that is one of the things that are different here. Then, of course, there's a great trust in society, a great trust in the state and in the authority of government, which is always good for a large majority of people. Very different from the US, very different from Germany, for example, and other countries where I see a plurality of opinions. It was more or less one opinion here, but that has changed. That has really changed, because in the beginning, when like 75-80% were behind the official strategy, this has changed, and we're down to a little below 50 now. Less than 50% support the strategy of the state, of the government, and of the authorities who don't listen. And that's something that I really criticize. They don't listen to Harvard, they don't listen to Cambridge, to Oxford, to the Sorbonne. They don't read articles in foreign papers. They don't listen to reliable sources outside the country. They only listen to their official outlets. And the media and the government are pretty much in the same boat and playing the same game. And that's really something that has led many people who have lived here as foreigners to actually leave the country. I know many people who have left. I know people from Portugal who have been very critical about the official strategy, who have got death threats, and who have left as late as last week. That's not good, isn't it? Anyway, the fight is going on, and I think there's a lot of people here now, at least 1/3, that is very critical against the way we handle this without masks, without really following the recommendations, because we have the recommendations, but if people don't follow them to the point, then they're pretty much worthless. Look at this beautiful place called Herr Engens Gård, and actually you can eat here. You can even hire the place for having your own party here. So let me continue to speak about my reading last week. I'm still reading my 3 books that I started. So I am like 150 pages into Tana French and her novel The Searcher, about Cal Hooper, a Chicago police retiree who has moved to Ireland to buy a cottage, to live a different life as a pensioner, but then who gets involved in a case of a missing person, of a missing boy. He meets a, I think, 11-year-old boy. His name's Trey, and he asks Cal to search for his brother, who's 18 or 19 years old and who went missing a couple of months ago, and Cal finally does it, and we'll see where that leads him. I'm also still reading The 9 Lives of Pakistan by Declan Walsh, a book about, Pakistan. And I finished the second chapter yesterday, the second chapter in where Declan Walsh is telling us the story of how Pakistan came till after the end of the British rule over India in 1947. And he wrote a chapter about the two founders, more or less, of India, President Nehru and Jinnah of Pakistan. So that's a very interesting, I think a very important read to educate myself about this part of Asia that is currently, not only currently, but has been in the news for many, many years. Folks, the area I am currently walking in here, close to Lake Longsha, somewhere between Vrijingen and Huddinge. This must be one of the least diverse areas that I've ever seen in Stockholm, because this is a very diverse city and it's a very diverse country, you know, where 25% of the people have roots in another country. But walking around here, among all the houses, the haciendas, whatever, the villas as they call them here in Sweden, it's really like walking in a different town. And well, I would guess that most of the people around here are Anderssons and Svenssons and Larssons and Johanssons, and that we don't find so many foreign names here. Beautiful area to have your dog, to walk your dog on the street, probably super safe at night. The lake is close. And the third book that I'm currently reading is A Passage to India by E.M. Forster, published in 1924. I'm doing this as part of reading the readathon March of the Moderns. And March of the Moderns, reading this with Margaret Pennard. And have to do quite a lot of reading in this book, but it seems to be very interesting. I like the way that Forster builds his novel. I'm a little bit annoyed now by Tana French, how she builds her novel. In the beginning I was sort of enthusiastic about it, but she's too slow-paced in my eyes. But we'll come back to that, and I don't give up. I actually don't know where I am now. Somewhere between Huddinge and Stockholm municipality. And there was a shoe in the water. Someone came home with one shoe today, and some mom got angry. Or sad. I feel a little bit like bald and bankrupt now, not lost on the streets of Lysychansk in Ukraine, but lost in the streets of Vrijingen in Sweden. Speaking about the pandemic, here is Vrijensgården, which is a home for the elderly, one of the larger homes for the elderly that we have here in our area, and I think that more than 40 people died here last year. 40 people died of COVID-19. Happy Sunday, everyone. I never finished that video off yesterday, so I have to make it round this year, as we say in Swedish. So I'm really behind my reading schedule still, although I lowered my goal for 2021 from 60 to 52 books. I'm still 2 books behind. But I might finish 1 book today, because The Searcher by Tana French, I complained about it yesterday, that it was a little bit slow. But now, it's really got a lot of speed, and it's really an amazing book. I really can recommend it. I can say that to you, because yesterday I was at page 150, almost 150 pages in. Now, before doing my Sunday walk, which I will do in a couple of minutes, I'm 286 pages in, and I probably will finish the last 170 pages today, because I do have to know what happened in this beautiful rural Irish community. And Cal Hooper, the former Chicago policeman, he's going to find out. That I can tell you. But he knows, he said that in chapter 11, at the end of chapter 11, he knows that from his time in Chicago, he has that feeling, however the story will end, it won't be a happy ending. Okay. Let's get back to reading plans, because I did that video about books that I want to read or might read before I move in a couple of weeks from this beautiful house, from this beautiful area. And you have luckily and gladly answered. I'm so happy about this. So now I have a reading schedule for the next couple of weeks. I will continue with the 3 books that I'm reading now. I told you about them yesterday or in the first part of the video. But I also am going to read Once Upon a River by Bonnie Jo Campbell, which still is a part of the Picker Wheel project. I'm going to read White Tiger today with Courtney Ferder. We will start somehow at the end of March, after I've read The Passage to India. I will read Barack Obama's A Promised Land. Well, the dogs on the street howl 'cause they understand if I could reach one moment into my hands. Mister, I ain't a boy, no, I'm a man, and I believed in a promised land. And I believe, not believed, and I believe in a promised land. A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I'll read that with Paula from Draw Your Book in April. Chunky one. I'm doing another buddy read with Beating Around the Books, and we are going to read Fake Accounts by Lauren Oyer. Fake Accounts by Lauren Oyer. Lauren was actually on the New York Times Book Review podcast 2 weeks ago, if you want to listen to that. I'm going to read the first time as a premiere with Peter Gardner, who is one of my viewers. He doesn't have his own booktube channel, but I'm going to read Kastanjemannen with him by Sören Svejstrup. So these are the plans for the forthcoming weeks, and then probably I will move to my new place shortly after this, but I think Obama will take a couple of weeks, although it is pretty easy to read, I guess. It's not Marcel Proust, isn't it? Or Thomas Mann. But it's a good book, I'm sure it is. Just a different style. So this was all about everything for today, for the wrap-up of week number 10. I'm going to be some kind of Steve Donahue adapt, maybe a little Steven, because I will do a second video today, which is about short stories, because I have a great short story award that was awarded last week, actually, and I didn't know about the award, and I looked up the long list, which consists of 20 beautiful collections of 2020, some of them from 2021, and I want to present my 10 favorites that I picked out from this list. It's a great list of short stories, so if you're interested in short stories, do take a look at the next video, which comes a couple of hours later than this one, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. I'll see you. I'm going out now. I'm going to wear a mask whenever I go inside a building. I'm going to be careful, I'm going to socially distance, and maybe I'll bring you some footage from this walk. So stay tuned to this amazing, beautiful channel, and leave a subscription. That's how they say it in Germany. I like the expression, leave a subscription. Leave a subscription, and I see you very soon. Bye-bye.